Senator Ed Markey urged fellow lawmakers to support the Inflation Reduction Act last week. Markey specifically discussed the need for climate action. The landmark $430 billion climate, tax, and healthcare bill passed on a party-line vote Sunday after months of negotiations that ended in a marathon series of overnight debates and amendment votes. If the bill passes the House and is signed into law by President Biden, who has signaled his support, it would authorize roughly $370 billion for energy and climate programs, which would be the biggest clean energy investment by the federal government in American history.
Thank you so much. Please remain standing. How many have ever given a speech standing on the floor of the United States Senate? Raise your hand. And Chris, who's I think just left, Tim Kane. We get to do it quite a bit here lately. And I spoke earlier today trying to protect something called NEPA, National Environmental Protection Act. And you know who signed it into law? Richard Nixon. And you know who was trying to take it down? Our Republican colleagues. And as they would come onto the floor to vote on the measure, I would say the Republicans vote with Nixon. And they would say, well, I plan to. And I say, he would vote with the Democrats. He would vote with the Democrats on this. And I watched the page. You know, we have these pages in the Senate, and they sit at the front, right around the presiding officer up there. And I spoke the other day about what's going on in the world with respect to climate change, climate crisis. And sometimes the pages will sit up there and they'll talk to one another, they'll whisper, and not really paying much attention to what's going on. There's about 25 of them, not a word, like focused, right on me, every word that I said. And you know why? This is about their lives. This is about whether or not they're going to have a chance to go up in a world that is welcoming to them. It's really about whether or not their kids and grandchildren are going to have a chance in life. That's what it's about. I don't know if you've been following the news lately. Anybody here ever been to England? Anybody ever been to England? A number of people. 2 weeks ago, England was a place, most places didn't have air conditioning in England. It was 105 degrees. And the day that it was 105 degrees in England, over in the next country over in France, they're getting ready to have their big bicycle race. They had to water thousands of gallons, tens of thousands of gallons of water to water the road so it wouldn't melt, so they could have the Tour de France. My little state of Delaware, home of Chris Coons, Joe Biden, myself, Lisa Blunt, Rochester, my state is sinking. Sea level rise, seas are rising, our state is sinking. Down in Louisiana, we have anybody here ever been to Louisiana? Anybody ever been to New Orleans? Louisiana, they lose a piece of land from sea level rise every 100 minutes, the size of a football field. In the time that you're going to be out here today, they'll lose about two football fields. And the whole duration of today, they'll lose about 12 football fields. The number of farms that are wiped out across this country because of lack of water, because of excessive heat, probably the worst we've ever seen in our lifetimes. Do you have anybody here who likes music? Anybody ever hear these words before? Something's happening here. Just what it is ain't exactly clear. Let's say it again. Something's happening here. Just what it is ain't exactly clear. Whose words were those? Stephen Stills, Buffalo Springfield. Yeah, well, that's exactly clear what's going on here. There's way too much carbon in the air. Way too much carbon in the air. And at the end of the day, it's going to kill us. Not right away. Kind of like the story about the frog that's in a big kettle. They turn on the heat, and eventually the frog dies. But that's the kind of situation that we face. It doesn't have to be that way. And this is not one of the, eat your broccoli deals. It doesn't have to be that way. We can actually address climate change. We can cool things down. We can slow it up and make sure that we create a lot of jobs and economic opportunity. I'll give you one example and I'll stop. When I was the age of some of you, I was a naval flight officer in the Vietnam War, and we had a great concern about something that was going on our planet. There's a hole in the ozone. There's a hole, and it kept getting bigger and bigger. And folks tried to figure out what's causing that. And they finally figured out it's some of the ingredients that we have in air conditioners, freezers, coolants, that was actually causing that. So they developed, as science came along, they developed a new substance to put in the air conditioners and refrigerators and freezers. And guess what? The hole in the ozone went away. That's great. The thing that wasn't so great is that what they used, HFCs, hydrofluorocarbon, what they used as a replacement is many, many, many times worse than carbon dioxide on global warming. So the question is, what do we do about it? Well, we have a follow-on product to take the place of HFCs. That's good. The other thing that's good, it's manufactured in this country. The other thing that's good about it, it'll create tens of thousands of jobs, and give us economic opportunities we didn't otherwise have. And the other thing that's good is we're going to have a chance to vote on that in just a couple of weeks. Right in here in the United States Senate on a treaty called Kigali. Let me hear you say Kigali. Let me hear you say Kigali. One more time, really, really. Kigali. There you go. Good golly. Kigali. It's worth 1.5 degrees Celsius. 1.5 degrees Celsius. And others have been talking about, as they should, about the reconciliation package and all the good stuff that it has with respect to climate and our Earth. Kigali's coming too. It'll be a 1-2 punch. Hopefully, we'll take the first punch here this weekend, and then when we come back after August recess, we'll do Kigali as well. Help is on the way. Thank you for being the wind beneath our wings. Thank you. God bless you. Thanks so much. Stay cool.
Senator Van Hollen from the great state of Maryland.
Chris Van Hollen.